Welcome to Costly Conversations. I have a very special guest with us today. His name is Gammage, and I've been following him for a long time on the old Instagram. Him and his posse per se. They go by squad drills. There's a few of them. There's a few of them in there, and it's interesting because I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. As in a named group of just like internet friends who get together and shoot guns and hold each other accountable. And I want to talk to him about that. I also want to talk to him about some things that go a little bit deeper than the gun. And I'm glad you guys are here with me today. If you don't know, my name is Aaron. You can find me everywhere from my work in the firearm space under Armed Atlas to stuff in the media space with my company, Costly Media. We do like videos and such. And of course, if you've been following for a while, you're into the podcast as well, Costly Conversation. So thank you for tuning in. And let's go ahead and talk to my guy Gammage about what he's doing in the space and what he's doing outside the space, because that's almost more interesting to me. My man Gammage. How are
What's
you?
up, Aaron? I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, I'm good. And just for the listening audience, if you could just let us know if our levels are good. We want it to sound decent, at least before we get deep into the conversation. If we need to make any adjustments, that'd be great. And we'll let you guys know if there's anything else that you need to know about before we really get rolling. Gammage, bro, it's been a long time coming. I think you know this.
It has. It has.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we were supposed to, like, maybe, I don't know, was it a year ago or so? Somebody put me on to your page and I was like, oh man, this guy's doing some interesting stuff. He's interesting. He's motivational. He's posting consistently. Like he's very consistent. A lot of people, including myself, are inconsistent, as in they when they put something decent out, it's like months at a time away. And when they put
Gotcha.
out their just regular stuff, it's like, oh, you should have put that out a lot sooner. Like you could have dropped that a month ago. Like, what you doing? I'm guilty of it too. But it seems like between you, your boy Jay Weth, Trigger Dad, all the guys, you guys are constantly updating us, constantly keeping us in the loop, kind of in a way creating a weird system. I don't want to call it weird, but almost like accountability, where it's like, oh man, this man's out here dry firing. This man's out here trying out some new stuff. He's showing us what he's got. He's showing us what he's getting into,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. But before we go too deep, could you kind of tell people outside of what I just explained who
Yes,
you
sir.
are, what you do, in and outside of guns?
Yeah. Well, to go back and answer the question first, you asked how long has it been since we were supposed to get together, and I would say it's been at least 2 to 3 years that I've been knocking on your door, trying to get on the podcast. But I understand, you didn't like me then, but it's okay. I love
This
you, and
guy.
you love me now. And so we're together. You know what I mean? As you mentioned, I'm Gammage. First name Terrence, last name Gammage. So Gammage isn't just the Instagram name, like it is actually my surname. Many of the men in my family, we all go by our surname. So it, I had several Uncle Gammages, and I'm just now one of the young Gammages. So I'm Gammage. I am originally from Avon Park, Florida, or born in Sylvester, Georgia, bred and raised there in Avon Park, Florida. I now reside in the Tampa Bay area, still here in Florida. A graduate alumni of USF, Go Bulls. Um, I am a full time clergyman, so I am actually pastor. I pastor full time at my local church here in the community. And guns, I love them. It's a phenomenal hobby, but I also do premarital counseling, family counseling, teenage youth ministry, young adult youth ministry, and just mentor, servant, and leader in my community, man. So I'm here. I'm here for it all.
That's what's up. And I think I think that shouldn't be kind of glossed over in the sense that you are actually out here making a difference where you are. And I know some people have a hard time with the idea of church and organized religion and all the different things that people have been maybe hurt by, or maybe they've seen somebody hurt by in their lifetime, or maybe they heard some stories and it just kind of put them off. But I think people like yourself who have a great attitude and who are actually in there doing the Lord's work, as people like to say, I think that helps to let people know that life is bigger than the stories they've heard, or that one or two or three, or maybe that big past experience. Life is a little bit bigger than those moments, as impactful as they might have been. So I can appreciate that. Now we do want to cover the guns before we dive too deep into the stuff you do outside of guns, because I think a lot of people, they get kind of drawn in by it, and we want to reel them in a little bit, earn the right to be heard. And okay, yeah, somebody said my audio is a little low, and I'm not sure why that is, but I'll try to make some adjustments to that. Thank you for letting me know. So, Gammage, when did you start shooting?
I started shooting, I would say, around maybe 94, 95. I've been into guns for a very long time. A lot of, I would say, I've had more illegal time spent with guns than I've had legal. And so, as a young boy, maybe 12, 13 years old, I was hunting. Even younger than that, 8 and 9 years old, I was always out either shooting, hunting squirrel, dove, quail, rabbit. So I've always been BB guns, 22 long rifles, and then graduated up in adolescence, maybe 15, 16, or 14, 15, where I then started getting into handguns and shotguns. And yeah, so I'd say maybe 14, 15 would be a dialed in age.
Okay, so you've been shooting for a century.
Yes.
Yeah, and because the guys are saying my audio is a little low, I'm trying my best to kind of boost it all over just to make sure that we're not creating a poor experience for the people. I'm not sure what's wrong with the deck today. Maybe I need to restart it and kind of get back to it, but I'm going to try not to kill our stream.
I love it.
That's just not the move. So I know you said you had a lot more illegal time with guns. What do you mean by that? And don't incriminate yourself too much, but allegedly.
Oh,
allegedly,
no. All things, my name is clear in the system now.
Oh, that's good.
I've had several, and I constantly do several background checks, so I'm good to go now. So all things have been expunged if needed to be. But no, what I mean by more illegal time than legal, growing up, like my background in just the area and the environments that I grew up in, I spent a lot of time around firearms and guns. And so carrying a gun at 15, 16 years old, like that was a real thing. And so I say illegal because during that time, of course, I'm underage. I don't have any license. I'm not even supposed to have a firearm. But that was life at that time. So I've spent a lot of time around guns.
Okay, so guys, you let me know if this is a little bit better. I'm so sorry to those who have
You
been
did
trying
get
to listen.
louder to me.
Okay, I just had to crank some of these. I got this big old podcast deck. Hold on, let me switch the camera back. I got this big old podcast deck with like 20,000, little things. So if one of my kids comes in, I got two girls and they're like real small and they like to come in here and touch things when I'm not here. I'm like, hey, don't go in that room, okay? It's things like, okay. It sounds like it's a lot better.
I'm reading the comments, man. These guys are hilarious.
Right. I mean, we'll get to. Guys, for those of you in the comments, thank you so much. I do want to make sure we collect your comments and punch them in at the end, just so we can make sure to have lots of things. So if you guys have any questions, even those of you who know Gammage real well, and maybe there's a question that you feel like would make for good content, Go ahead and fire it in. We'll try to make sure that he has to face the music, get on the hot seat, and answer it. Just nothing too personal. Like you guys know how he rolls. Like don't be too ridiculous. But
it's okay.
Ask something good. Hold on. Okay. I'm sorry. Guys who are on the podcast side, I'm reading through these comments, and somebody said, Gammage, you look good for 65. God, y'all wild.
My God.
Y'all wild. Okay. Wild. So let's get back to the show. So
yes, sir.
I want to talk. I just want to like dive right into it. You have a relationship with one company that is really interesting. I don't think I've seen somebody so, I guess, involved in the industry in the way that you are. You have a relationship with Brownells. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. And it's like, man, how much are they paying this man? Because every time he throws up a post, it's like, hey, Brownells is here, shop Brownells. Now, I'm gonna just ask, do you have a contract with Brownells, or are you on like an affiliate program? You want to make the best out of the affiliate program?
Correct. I have an affiliate I am a part of Brownell's affiliate program. And even to tie in the previous question into how I operate with the individual or the companies that I do affiliates with or affiliate things with, coming from my background, like I have a very loyalist mindset. Like I am a loyalist. Whatever team I'm with, like I'm riding with that team. I'm always conscious and cautious on like what individuals or what companies that I even link up and yoke up with, because I do believe that my and you'll understand how I say this, like my mouth is valuable. So if I'm talking about something, or if I'm in front of people, and I'm going to be talking about the companies that I'm affiliated with, Brownells being one of them, and they do a phenomenal job with their affiliate program. So I'm always talking about them because of the way that they take care of their affiliates.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do have a cool program from what I've seen. I'm not in it. I do most of my stuff with Obsidian Tactics, and Obsidian Tactics. He's actually here in the live chat right now, and
which is an amazing guy. And may I jump in and say that?
Yeah, the owner of OT is great.
One of the first giveaways I won on IG was through Obsidian Tactics, and man, they took care of me like hands down. Another phenomenal organization and company to work through. So they're great.
I mean, if Gammage is saying that, it must be true, right? So I will say this. When we went to GunCon, and you were at GunCon out in is it Iowa?
Iowa, yes, sir.
There's nothing out in Iowa except for
corn and soy
and Brownells.
And
which
Brownells.
It's crazy because you get off the highway and there's like this giant building to your left, and then there's like little tiny like rinky-dink hotels that you don't want to stay in. Like you should probably keep driving, like for real. But Brownells is there, and their employees, the ones that I've run into, they're all really great, really welcoming. I've never felt, and I'll say this, sometimes as a black influencer or a black person in the media space, especially in the gun space, you're slightly more attuned to like, okay, like how am I being treated when I walk in a room?
Yep.
Not because I'm really trying to look to be treated badly. I really don't, but I want to make sure that I'm not being mistreated. And if so, I don't need to be in that space. Like I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be disrespected. I'm just going to go. Like I'm not going to make a big deal. I'm just going to go. Somebody said I heard banjos playing. Yes, you did. And it wasn't me, I swear. So, when I went to Brownells, you're kind of out in, the middle of rinky-dink, Iowa. The guy at my hotel, half his teeth are falling out. I'm like, is that the stuff? Is he on the stuff? Oh my goodness. He used to have gauges. One of his ears was blowing out. I'm like, okay, super nice guy. And then when I went to Brownells, everybody there was super kind, super like friendly, treated me with the utmost respect. And I was like, okay, I could see why Gammage has absolutely no problem co-signing Brownells. So that tells me like, okay, everything you're saying is kind of pretty much as you're putting it. They treat you well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from ownership, Pete, the current owner of Brownells, now the son. I mean, we've met with him. We've had lunch and dinner with him. The team, the affiliate team from Roy Possum Fat, who I'm sure you met, Josh, Cody. There are some gentlemen that were working with Brownells, but they've moved on since, like Perry. All of those guys are amazing, and every individual that you come into contact with that has or that are a part of the affiliate program through Brownells. I mean, it's never, for me, it's always been great because none of the guys are ever jockeying for clout. Like, no matter how big they are on the socials and in their influencer right, when they come together in anything that's surrounding that, they embrace each other like it's nothing.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the positive things about the gun space as a whole, except when you run into the other stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if you're saying like, hey, when I'm in the Brownells, I don't even like when I'm with my Brownells people, I don't even encounter the gatekeeping and people probably wonder what you mean by gatekeeping. For example, if you were to as a smaller influencer getting kind of started, getting into the space, reviewing stuff, putting out content that may be decent, but maybe not great, but decent, and you send a DM or try to approach a larger influencer, which with a much larger audience, there is a
Correct.
chance in really any niche, there's a chance that you will not be responded to, or
Correct.
you may get sunned a little bit, which I have to watch myself with that because like a lot of guys in the space aren't podcasting, so I have to make sure that I have to like present myself in such a way where I'm not gatekeeping and I'm not sunning people. That's something
Gotcha.
I'm learning constantly.
I like that.
Right. And so I'm what I'm hearing from you is that's not happening from Brownells, and really it's inviting for guys who are maybe even on the smaller end of things. Now, are they doing a good job of like promoting your content, like resharing and making sure that their audience is your audience and vice versa?
Aaron, I'll tell you, man. So there was one I would say instance that you mentioned squad drills and our guys. We have several group checks amongst like all of the guys that are connected to through squad drills, not just guys here in Florida. Because and I know we'll get into it, but for squad drills, we're a community of individuals who just love to keep each other accountable. So we're in Arkansas, we're in freaking Colorado, we're everywhere. However, there was this one time where it was late at night and my phone just started buzzing. Like I was getting follower after follower after follower. And I was like, what the crap is going on? And
Mm-hmm.
so one of our guys, D's Gaines, he knows like the internet, he knows cyber stuff, he knows that stuff. So I hit him up and I'm like, Darius, I don't know if my page has been hacked because I got like over 300 followers in the last 30 minutes. Like, what the crap is happening? Jay Webb, you mentioned Josh,
Mm-hmm.
he had seen that Brownells reposted one of my videos. And I was like, oh, snap. And so to answer your question, and that was the first one that they did. Since then, they've reposted several of my
Mm-hmm.
videos and content out. And each time they do, to your point, it's always like an influx of followers, an influx of individuals that are connected because, of course, their reach is a lot larger than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're pushing out content and individuals are seeing, because there's no mistaking that I'm an African American male. I don't, but I'm country as all get out. So my tone and all of that stuff, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you see an individual who's knowledgeable and just good at what they do, like I'm no slouch, like I'm actually good at the things that I do. Individuals connect with it and they feel that it's genuine. And from there, we ride.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about squad drill so bad. So, guys, give me like 3 minutes, and then we'll jump into the squad drills conversation. I think it's really interesting what you said about your appearance because I don't think I've ever seen you really talk about being black, which is
Right.
fine. I don't think you need to. really have some deep conversation or kind of turn it into your platform. A lot of people do that. I don't think that's
Right.
necessary for you to do to be successful. Some other people, they might have to do it because that's all they got.
Right.
But I think you got a lot more than just the deepness of
Race.
your complexion,
Yes, sir.
and or your heritage in this country.
And Aaron,
Apparently,
if I may,
yeah,
if I may, I mean, keep in mind, which I don't. These aren't things that ever they come out when they're needed to come out. They're
sure,
talked about when they needed to be talked about. But we're talking about an individual who I grew up in Sylvester, Georgia, in the early '80s. I remember attending black only parks where there were parks inside of Sylvester, Georgia that blacks couldn't even that we couldn't play in as kids. We couldn't go to. When I moved to Avon Park, Florida, we're talking about the late '80s, mid to late '80s, because I moved to Florida in '88. Late '80s, early '90s. I remember visibly seeing the Ku Klux Klan march down Main Street
you're
in
kidding.
Sylvester, Georgia. At my school, like racism was a huge thing. And I'm saying these things just because I'm not one that talks or speaks from the race card. Like I've been a part of race fights where at my high school, blacks, whites, Hispanics, like it that's the type of environment that I've grown up in life that I've seen. But again, when you don't have to constantly replay the worst part of your life in front of you, because then you'll lock yourself into that time period and that time frame, keeping in mind I'm nowhere numb to it. I'm not numb to racism. I'm not numb to that these things do actually exist. However, um as I maneuver and as I move through life, I'm also aware that there's a lot of good and a lot of different people, and working with different ethnicities, working with different races, even within my own culture and ethnicity. Like there's a lot to be shared, there's a lot to be disconnected from. And so when I do choose to talk about some of those things, or when I don't lead with certain things, it's not because I'm oblivious, or it's not because I'm not tuned in or tapped in or woke to certain things. No, no, no. I'm very sensitive to what things exist. However, I also know how to extract and pull the good and just promote the positive on the outside of it.
Okay. Now, I do want to make sure that I ask you about, because I know you talked about your faith early on and it being a big deal, and I know you said that you've kind of encountered more or less KKK members and things like
Oh
that. And
yeah.
somebody actually asked a good question that we'll save towards the end, but I do want to ask later. I'm going to write this down. And how does your faith impact the way you see race, even in your church? I'm not sure what your church is made of, but it isn't the people makeup. But let before we do that, let's talk about squad drills. So
Yeah, man.
the one of the main reasons why I even invited you on the show, and I feel like my
Yeah.
audio's low, so I apologize, guys, if that is the case. One of the main reasons why I invited you on the show in the first place was
Yeah.
because you we were riding in the car together, and you
Hmm.
explained exactly what squad drills was. I was like, "What is this squad drill thing?" And you kind of broke it down. You're like, "Hey, yeah, we want to more or less be here for each other
Yeah.
in a way that's deeper than guns." Tell the people exactly what squad drills is all about.
Yeah, man. So, first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of Costly Conversations, because I am an extension of a much larger group. Squad Drills, we are a group of individuals that, beyond firearms and everything else, we are laymen. Like we are fathers, we are there are ladies in squad drill, so we are sisters, we are well, they are sisters, we are fathers and brothers and mentors and just community leaders. Like we are working with one another to be just better, man. Our whole intention is to connect with an individual, and at the end of that or through that, for us to be better together. Community is big within squad drills. Like, we're not just talking about your latest upgrade. I know many people see us and they be like, "Oh man, that's the bright gun group, and that's the ported gun guys." But again, that it's IG. Like, you only got 60 seconds to 90 seconds worth of content to push out to people for to grab. Like, it's all grabbing things. But no. The group we continuously grow with individuals that are fathers, brothers, going through things in life, battling through stuff in life. And we're about that, man. We're about making sure that you don't fight whatever fight that you're fighting alone. We've had guys go through illnesses, fighting cancer. We've had individuals who parents and loved ones died. And on the gram, where individuals are going about life and continuing on, we're on the back group. We're on the back streets of that stuff, emailing, texting, phone calling, FaceTime, and video chatting. Like, we do a lot of that behind the scenes to make sure that individuals are linked up. And we're not even talking about guys that, oh man, you've grown up with this person, you've gone. No, we're talking about guys that all I know really is your handle. I might know your first name if we've chose to talk about it, but we've had range days where guys have literally just written their IG handle on the name badge, and we've worn that the entire day just so that we know who we're talking about. Like, oh, okay, that's Fireman. Well, his name is Greg, but we've called him Fireman the entire time. So as a whole, man, like, we are built on community. Like, community is huge within us, and no man fighting any fight in life by themselves. That's our bent.
Okay. And who would you say? I'm sorry, cut this down a little bit. Um, who would you say started squad drills? Was that you and somebody else, or did you hop into it later on? I get leader vibes from you, so I just assume it was your idea and everybody just got on it. But tell me the truth. What happened? How did you get here?
No. So the squad drill was created amongst four guys. Myself, Triggered Dad, which is Dalton, Jay Weth, which is Josh, and D's Gaines, which is Darius. The four of us came together, and we were shooting together, we were hanging together, and well, not really hanging together. We knew each other through Instagram, and from there we formed the group Squad Drills.
Okay, so you guys formed it together. You formed a boy band in the gun world, and I think that's great. I think it's great because there are a lot of groups or a lot of cliques. Some of them are very exclusive. Like, if you look at some of the top gun tubers, you look at guys like Brandon Herrera. Who's the other guy? He shoots like bars of soap and gummy worms and stuff like that. Like, what's his name?
Pew
Demolition
Pew?
Ranch. No,
Oh,
no, no, no.
Demolition Ranch.
Demolition
Got you.
Ramps. Like, he'll be like, can a 50 cal destroy 25 billion gummy worms? Probably. It just depends on how many times you need to shoot it first, right? And like, if you maybe follow those guys on social media, they're always hanging out. They're at each other's houses. They move to each other's cities so they can make
Yeah.
content together. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's a click. You're not getting in there. And it's more than one type of content with those guys. Like, there's what's his name? He does a lot of cop video, use of force reactions, donut operator.
Yeah.
Like, there's different types of content, but they're all together and they're all lifting each other up. They all use Demolition Ranch's t-shirt brand to, not the t-shirt brand, but the t-shirt manufacturing distribution
Right.
system that he made. And it's like, wow, they've created a system. And with that system, they also have the connections. Now tell me why your people are in the group, in the live chat right now, in the live stream, going on with the in sync lyrics, talking about ain't nothing but a heartbreak. What
I'm
is
not.
happening?
I'm not even looking over there. I'm not.
Don't look at it.
Listen.
Like, every
Listen.
time I look, it's something else.
I will say this though, and I have to give shots out to just giving him his flowers. There's a gentleman on IG. His name is Doovie Jetson.
Oh,
Um,
Doofy's that guy. I love Doofy.
listen. there was something that he was doing probably about 4 years ago. He said, of course, there was all of these different events and things happening around the country, and like large size wise. I remember seeing him do a thing on IG where he said, if there are any individuals in North Texas, he said, let's get together and have a range day. Just guys who are in North Texas together.
Texas
Let
T.
us. No, no, no. Duvie did this particular thing, and they all got together, and they man, it was an amazing freaking range day. They showed video content of it, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? We could do something like this in Florida. So I started just hitting up people in the DMs. Hey, are you in Florida? Like, let's have a Florida range day. And we put it together. Like, we did a Florida range day. We had guys come down from Alabama, guys come down from Atlanta, Georgia. Like, it was a really big thing. And from there, of course, a lot of relationships, because now you see people in person. Of course, there were a lot of us local that came out, and from there, it was shortly after that that a group of us, then those three mentioned. I'm seeing your face, so you must be reading something. After that, shortly after that, we then formed squad drills and grew up from there. What did you see, Aaron?
Oh
What
my gosh,
what was said?
your people are wild. I'm gonna save it because I don't want to make this too hard for the podcast listeners to enjoy. So I'm gonna save it for the end. If you guys want to hear what this person just dropped in the chat, we'll save it. But so that's awesome. I love the inspiration and I love the action behind the desire to say like, hey, you know what, we can have community, we can do it better. And the title of this podcast, or the title of this stream slash podcast, or whatever as it currently stands, is we need to talk about this, and or this is something we really need to talk about, however we said it. And I think the most important thing we can do is to take whatever we're doing and to allow it to be something that uplifts and brings people together and
Yep.
and actually engages community. If we have any early church scholars in here, that's something that they did very well,
Yep.
is to come together in each other's homes and create community. If you remember your college days, or if anybody here actually went to college or finished it out, or whatever they did, no diggity, no doubt. Who are these people? Tell them to stop. If anybody remembers their college days, the best time of your life was you're in the dorm, you got people you don't even like around you, but you're forced to do community with them, and that kind of drives out a lot of the loneliness that we see.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Half the reason why people tune into these live streams and podcasts and different things, and especially live streams, is because they're searching for a source of entertainment, yes, but also a kind of a sense of community. Like, okay, there's people in the live chat we can kind of go back and forth with. Maybe there's somebody I can talk to offline.
Yep.
I feel some sort of interesting parasocial relationship with the guest and whoever is on. And it's an unfortunately sad substitute for the real deal, but it's something, and we
Yeah.
can't dismiss that it is something.
Correct.
How has the desire to create real community impacted the types of things that you choose to implement, or the squad drills chooses to implement, such as, okay, we got a group chat, or okay, we're gonna try to meet up at this event if anybody can make it. Or I remember when we were in Iowa, that was one of the first events that I had to go to by myself. I don't want to make it sound too sad, like pity. Oh, poor Aaron. Oh, that armretless guy. He was a lonely guy. Yeah, I was. Okay, I was literally in my little rinky-dink hotel room, just chilling by myself. Normally, my camera guy would be riding with me because
That's what I was gonna mention. Right.
he'll hold the camera and he'll
Right.
make sure that I'm good. And there's a great level of accountability. Like, your wife doesn't have to worry like, man, is somebody going to try to snatch him up? Not that that's a concern, but people are wild out here, and they'll try to roofie you and stuff,
They're bold.
So,
They're bold. He
Right.
said they'll try to roofie you.
right. I'm just putting that out there. Like, don't do that. That's why, if I don't see you pour my drink, when I say drink, I'm talking lemonade. I don't like alcohol like that. Sorry, guys. Um, I'm not drinking it because people out here trying to cash in while they can. All right.
You're
Anyways,
so right. You're so right.
yeah. Back to the point.
Yes.
My guy, he normally rides with me, and you can say whatever you want to say about him. He's been awesome. He'll be there for you. He'll listen to you, and he's not. If you're riding with him, you're not going to feel like you're alone.
Dig it.
On that trip, as much as we had great memories and great conversations with big companies and all the stuff, at certain points I felt like, oh man, I'm literally by myself, and I'm not used to that. I got a whole
Yeah.
family. My wife is here. My little kids are always running around. I don't have time to feel any sort of loneliness.
Yeah.
So, point being, when we were riding together on the way, I guess you and your guys needed a lift to is it Des
The
Moines?
hotel. Yep. To Des
Yeah, yeah,
Moines.
yeah. And I was like, all right, bet. I got you, bro. Like, I'll take you up.
Yep.
Like, what reason do I have to not take you guys up? Like, just hop in the ride. Let's go. Like, I'm going there anyways. And we were talking about it, and you were like, man, you see, the point of squad drills is if one was to ever feel like, oh man, I'm going to be somewhere, you guys would pretty much make sure that I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
That more or less whatever I needed, it would be available within the power of the group.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that's powerful. That's something that I need to share. And I don't know what the application process looks like to join squad drills. I'm not saying I'm going to join, but I think, man, if there are people out there who need something like that, either start your own or try to find a way to join what these guys are doing. And
Yeah.
generally, the latter option is probably the better one because they already have a system down.
And I'll say, Aaron, I mean, you nailed it, man. For all intents purposes, like there's nothing. I can't say that there's a secret sauce or a secret formula to anything that we do outside of it being built on the backs of individuals that understand what darkness feels like understand what it feels like to be lonely, or understands what it feels like to go to the range by yourself. Like, we watch content, we see guys on IG or YouTube or TikTok or whatever social media outlet they're on. We see guys running drills, you see guys doing different things, but then it's hard for you to go to the range by yourself and do something explosive, and then you look around and there's nobody there to clap for you. Like, there's nobody there to pat you on your back and just say, hey man, like that was dope, or to call you out on something and be like, hey, I see you. Which I'm gonna go ahead and rat on him since he's in here. Simple Carry Solution. He sent me a video that he hadn't posted yet of his AKV, and in that video, when he sent it, he didn't have his eyes on in the video. Now, many of us have shot videos or done a range stunt and didn't either have our ears on or didn't have our eyes on. But in watching the content, something dope that he shot, my response back to him was, man, like that right there looks clean. Are you not going to post it because you didn't have your eyes on? These are the kind of things that we can say we're guilty of being in incident or situations where there was no one there to hold you accountable to something. And likewise, not just me holding him. There are plenty of other guys that have called me out on stuff. Hey, Gammage, like you didn't have your eyes on, you didn't have your ears on, or hey, like you turned a little bit too much, like that almost flagged, or I like to be safe, but there are times, like what I'm saying. Whatever it is what it is. All I'm saying, Aaron, is everybody desires to be at the range and just be with someone. And so for us, there is no secret sauce, there is no formula, as much as it is none of us are selfish. Like, we do a really good job of linking up and connecting with men and women that are unselfish and that are willing to well, let me say this. If there is anything that I could say that would be a prerequisite to be a part of squad drills, it is you have to be selfless and teachable.
Mm,
Have to. If you're an individual that you can't be corrected, we don't really want you to participate with us, because then you're gonna be too prideful. You're gonna be out here and you're gonna feel like you know it. You're gonna feel like you got it, and we all got it. But there's always someone that got it a little bit better than you got it, and so
mm.
you know, don't be
No,
that guy or that
yeah,
gal.
you're right. And we have about 20 minutes before we open it up for audience questions. So you guys keep firing those questions in there. I'll try to flag them, and we'll do a call for questions in a minute. But I love what you said there about being teachable and making sure that you are pretty much on board with humbling yourself just a little bit. I mean, there's a lot to be said about humility, and there's a lot
Yeah,
to be
man.
said about pride, and we all know, like if you know, you know. I've seen in my time here on Instagram, YouTube, whatever platform we're on at the time. There's always that guy who is doing a good job for the most part, but something's off, something's a little bit dangerous, something shouldn't be broadcasted, because the problem with having a public platform, even with people who are
Hmm.
unqualified to have a public platform, right,
Hmm.
is when people see it, they assume it's the truth. They
Yes.
assume it's real. They say,
Yep.
oh, they see this guy, he's got on some what looks like expensive gear, but he got it from wish.com or Temu or whatever. And he's out here and he's on the range and he's running around. He did a barrel roll, like do a barrel roll. Like he did that. And guess what? He at 3 times flagged his own foot, and then he
Yep.
flagged the cameraman, which is easy to
Yep.
do if you're not
Yep.
careful. And then he flagged, his mama. And you're like, you know, that if you were to comment down below, you'd be like, hey, my guy, I love that you're out here training, but you do want to clean that up for the next run. You could say it, no disrespect, my brother. Like you could say every little thing, and people will still act up.
Aaron, it's something that, and this is just something that I was taught by mentors ahead of me. One of the things that, and I'll say that if there was ingredients to Gammage, one of my huge formulas is you praise in public, you reprimand in private.
Hmm.
Simple. Even with my kids, like you praise in public, you reprimand in private. If I see an individual do some bogus stuff on they post, like or on their reel, I will never, ever confront them in that comment section with any type of correction. And the reason I won't, because anytime you correct someone in front of other people, you stand the chance of it going sideways.
Hmm.
Remember, all I'm doing is typing. And my type tone could have been, hey man, I saw that you didn't have your eyes on when you shot that video. You want to be careful about that. I could have been thinking because freaking shrapnel swung back, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
He could have read that same statement through the tone of the last person that tried to comment and went bogus on him. And hey, bro, you don't need to be typing what it up. I don't know. And so for
Yeah.
me, I'm never going to get caught up in the public side of correcting somebody, but I will always. There are countless men and women that can say that Gammage has reached out to me, or he will reach out to you private and just make the same comment. And again, it's because you praise in public, you reprimand in private. Now, if I see something like that on a post, I'm not about to praise it. Like I may just heart it and keep it moving, but I will not heart something, and if it's wrong, I will not heart something and not get in the comment or in their inbox and have and establish some type of rapport with them. And I'm talking about guys that I don't even know. If I don't even know you, then what does my opinion matter to you? Like, if we haven't had any type of interactions back and forth on the gram or TikTok or YouTube back and forth to where there's even room there for us to be approachable to one another like that, then my opinion doesn't matter to you. And
Yeah.
so you haven't asked me for my opinion. And so for me to voluntarily give it to you, that's a little bit that's a little bit prideful on my end. So if I'm gonna inbox you, I'm going to at least start that message off by, hey, I noticed your video, you did such and such and such and such. Is that always the way you guys run that? And so at least now it's a question versus me making this assertive comment on what you doing or what you just did that I now want to correct. Bro, I don't know you. You don't know me. And
Mm.
so, that's something big for people. I do believe more people should praise in public, or as your parents would say in the olden days, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. Just keep it moving. You ain't got to like or comment on anything.
Yeah. I noticed that people do have a really hard time with that, as you just said, and I do like the idea of kind of taking it privately, just so you don't incidentally bruise somebody's ego, because that's kind of hard to repair, and they might
Yep.
have been having the worst day ever, and now the post is popping off, and now they got 500 people liking your comment, and they've been ratioed in their own comment section,
Yep. Yep.
talking about like, hey bro, trigger finger, bro. It's like, man, that's a rookie move. I didn't even catch that. I was just so excited to show off this 50-yard shot, with a handgun,
And some
that
people don't know what they don't know.
right
Like, you could be commenting and correcting people on
for
things that
sure.
they don't have an accountability group like you, so they
Hmm.
didn't even know what they did was wrong. Flagging, what does flagging mean? We assume that so many other people know all of the stuff that we know, and they don't. And so by you, like you just mentioned, jumping in the comment section and bashing them, bro, they've had at least 15 other people that's gonna bash them. You're making this place unsafe. It ain't even friendly and fun no more.
That's an interesting way to put it. It's not even fun anymore. I'll tell you what. I don't want to make the 2A gun space seem overly toxic, but we have I have so many people who will send me videos, especially people I know,
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, what are they doing?" And it's generally not in something I know anything about. Like somebody might send me a picture of somebody doing like vehicle. I forget the acronym for like vehicle car CQB.
Like the shooting and things from
Yeah,
vehicle
yeah,
and
from like
seatbelt.
inside a car. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh, they got a rifle or a handgun and they're working from inside a car. And somebody will be like, oh, I saw you, or hey, yo, don't you know this person? Didn't like that's not how you do that. I'm like, well, guess what? I've never taken a vehicle course, so I can't actually like speak to what's happening. I do have some knowledge based on things that I was told, but who am I to reach out to them because you told me to, and
Yeah.
say like, bro, like you did that wrong, because I'm not an instructor in that area. I have really nowhere to draw from to say like these are the facts. But
Right.
beyond that, actually, I recently had two separate people reach out to me to just give me like minor corrections on things, or just bounce ideas off of me because I did it one way and they thought maybe it could be done a different way, and maybe it could have been. I mean, it wasn't life changing stuff,
Right. Right.
but and the way they did it, they kind of like tiptoed around the conversation, and I was offended by that because I don't. Maybe I do, and you guys can let me know. But I don't think I exude sensitive, overly overly prideful. Like if you tell me something, I'm gonna just break down and be angry or cry. Like, come on, bro. Like, tell me if I'm doing it wrong. Like, if you really think that it's not correct, you can tell. Sorry, I'm like moving my table. You can tell me that you think that I should mount something this way, or that I need to readjust my grip ever so slightly to maximize my output when
Right.
trying to manage that second shot on the recoil. Like you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, and if you can
Yeah.
back it up with either your experience as a semi pro or as a pro,
Yeah.
cool, or on the other side, I can ignore you. You know, like I can. Like if you're saying some nonsense, I don't have to listen to you at all.
I don't.
But my annoyance is, why have we created such a world where people are scared? Like, because these people know me. Like they can talk to me, but
Yeah.
people are scared to approach. And maybe that's me. Maybe that's me creating an environment where people don't quite understand that I'm approachable.
And I think you said it though. I believe it's more of, have we invited individuals on into our space, not necessarily for correction, but have we invited individuals into our space to communicate with me? All
Hmm.
too often, we will post content, or influencers are posting content, and even their write up. Like, I'm one that reads write ups. If a person took the time to post something, I'm actually intrigued at what you said in the comment. Now, for me, I get it. I end up typing too much stuff in my stuff because I'm an over communicator. Like, I want to make sure that the person got it. But in that write up, I'm also inviting conversation. And I think that may be a space where many of us, we post our content and then we post statements. We don't necessarily leave ellipses or like dot, 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 so that individuals see that, hey, there's an opening here. I want some dialogue. And that's on us.
Hmm.
That's on the influencer to correct that. If you post something, if you're not a professional, if you're not some freaking pro that's doing what it is that you do, stop talking as if you are, because that's pride, and
Right.
just post your stuff, enjoy your posts, let others enjoy your content, and be open to individuals communicating, whether that be positive or negative, because none of us know everything about everything, and so there's always room to do something better. This may work better for you, and it sucks for me to do it. I know guys who still shoot with the tactical grip, where they put their forefinger up in front of the you know what I'm talking about. I
I know
know
exactly
guys that
what you're
shoot like
talking
that.
about.
But Aaron, here's the crazy thing. There's one guy in particular that shoots like that. He shoots better than me. Who am I to correct him on? Hey, bro, like, you should slide that hand down. Why? At what point have I been able to outshoot you that I can even say, hey,
Right.
slide that down? No,
Because
it's working
results,
for you.
like,
Results.
you gotta, at the end of the day, if what you're doing looks dumb, but it's getting you the results that are required for your end goal,
Right.
like, what's the question? Like,
What's the question?
you know. So I really appreciate us kind of dialoguing on this a little bit, and I hope that people who are interested in community and interested in actually turning this thing from, like, I'm just posting on the internet, hear me, see me, look at me,
Yeah. Yeah.
they can kind of understand that this space is a little bit bigger than just you. Invite people in to communicate, invite people into community,
Yeah.
invite people into critique, even those who maybe are able to, because obviously if there's somebody who's been shooting for 3 weeks and they think they know better than you, I'm not saying that they don't, because they might know
Right.
something, but that might not be the time
Right.
for them to make their brilliant ideas known. And I'm not trying to speak down on people, but just the way the world works. Right?
Yep.
There
Yep.
there there are levels to this thing. And
Yep.
speaking of levels, do you ever? And this happened to me recently. I went to the NAGA event and I ran into a lot of people who are freaking awesome. And every once in a while, I ran into somebody who recognized me. And most of the people were, I would say, all the people who recognized me and treated me with so much respect and so much love and let me know, like, what I'm doing well. But there comes a point where you're just kind of thinking back on the weekend and reflecting, and you wonder, like, dang, like, do these people, like, look up to me? You know, do they think I'm some sort of, like, superhuman? Like, do they not see where I fail? Do they not see where I fail as a father? Like, do they not see where I failed as a son? And, as a husband, all the things.
Yeah.
And do you ever think about that? Does that ever cross your mind? Like, the the weird parasocial relationship we have where people think of you as more than, Tarek Gammage. They think of you as, God Gammage. And it's
Yeah.
like, talk about that.
Yeah, no, I do, man. And I actually, I love the way you worded it in the sense that are there ever pockets and moments where those things do hit you? In my eyes, in Gammage eyes, I am just Gammage. Like, to your point, I know all of my mistakes. I know the areas where I failed as a son, where I come short as a husband, where I didn't meet the mark as a father, where I failed as a mentor. Like, I know these areas where in my own right I'm below the bar. But again, I Instagram, social media, TikTok, all of these things are highlight reels of our life. Like, they are the top 10, top 5 highlights that an individual shows. And so for me, I'm very conscious of that. And I do my best to be very balanced and unbiased on the content that I push out. And what I mean by that is showing my flaws, showing my mess ups, showing where I'm not as good on all days. Like, I'm not batting 1,000 every day. And so, yes, sir, to answer the question, there are moments where when I'm coming into contact with individuals, even at GunCon, there are far more people that follow and understand, or I want to say understand, that's not a right synopsis. There are far more individuals that are aware of who Gammage is or who got Gammage is, that I'm not conscious fully of all the attention. Like, to me, it's just, bro, like, I do what I do because I love doing what I do. I love people. I'm in the people business. And so I love making sure that people are good. Because of that, I'm always going to be sensitive and present in the now when people are around. I'm not one, and Aaron, and I don't even know how this connects, but I gotta say it. We're talking about somebody who, high school wise, I was homecoming king of my high school. I was prom king of my high school. I was a very popular person. I've always been very influential in the things, or in the things that I set out to do. But again, in my eyes, I've always seen myself as just loving on people. Like, it is really vital and huge to me that people feel loved and people feel seen. And so, when I'm out and about and someone recognizes me, I don't summarize it as, oh man, like, I'm making it, like I'm almost getting there. No, I'll never get there because I don't have a destination in my head. Like, I'm so fixed on the journey and how many individuals that I get the opportunity to be a part of their story. Like, and these individuals who I'm coming into contact with, they're also edifying and being a part of my story. So, bro, no, wait, yes, there are moments and pockets where I step back and I look at everything that's taking place, and I'm just in awe and I'm thankful of it. But I never allow it to consume me, because at the end of the day, I'm just being obedient to this portion of the assignment that's on my life. At the moment that I'm told to do something else and or stop doing this, God Gammage will cease to exist in this arena, and I will be continuing to do the other parts of life that I'm doing.
Wow. Man, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And hold on, let me do this. Somebody said that's cold. And it's true. Man, I'm so thankful that you said it like that. I'm thankful that you can recognize just you as a person, and I hope that other people might hear this and or share it and kind of hopefully adopt some of the mentality, like, hey, like, as an influencer in this space, like, that's a weird word to say, but we'll just use it for the lack of better words.
Yeah.
Like, you are not the star of the show. As much as people look to you for certain things, this is about them. This is their story. You're just a guide. You are the Obi-Wan Kenobi. They are the Luke Skywalker in the Star
Come
Wars
on.
story.
Come
You're
on.
just here to help them out. In fact, one day you'll be dead and gone. Like in the first movie, you just go, boop. be gone, be out of their algorithm before they know it, and hopefully you gave them something, maybe that one line, maybe that one hopeful sentiment. Maybe they read a little bit deeper past the gun stuff and took some real important life nugget, like something that you shared right now, and that will be the thing that helps them to slay a dragon or blow up a Death
Yeah, man.
Star or something cool like that. So yeah, I mean,
I know none of those references that you mentioned because I don't know anything about Star Wars or Battle Galactica. I don't know. I don't even know if I mixed those up right then. There's some. I'm poking the bear right now. I don't know what you just said.
okay. So like about a bunch of people just left the stream.
I
Thanks, bro.
believe
You
it. I
you
believe it.
destroyed. Oh man. Appar- Apparently, people really enjoyed the Star Wars reference, and then you screwed it up. Thanks, Gammage. So, point being, thank you for sharing that, and of course, I really appreciate everybody who's in here. We're going to talk about one more subject, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So, guys, if you guys have questions for Gammage, or even, right, I should kick him, shouldn't I? If you guys have questions for Gammage, or even questions for that we could answer together, definitely excited to answer those questions. Excited to roast or grill Gammage a little bit. I know a bunch of his boys are in here, so go ahead and just fire questions in, and we'll have those listed out for those who would stay towards the end. Excuse me. And let's go ahead and talk about one more thing, and then we'll do a slight commercial break. You talked about faith a lot. If I'm not mistaken, you're a Christian dude, which is
Yes, sir.
awesome. You said you did you're in the clergy, Pastor Gammage.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
If people follow you closely enough, they'll see some of the I guess the church posts and different things that you guys do, and I think it's great. I think everything you guys are doing, from what I can see, seems to be on point, seems to be inviting, seems to be awesome. I did want to ask a very specific question, and I'm not sure what I should ask first. Like, how did you get into that, or I'll just ask this. Maybe we could save that for another day because I feel like that story could go on forever. You talked about running into the KKK and not being obsessed with race, but understanding it, being that you've literally had more interactions with just like the bold face of racism than
Mm-hmm.
anybody else. Somebody just said they love your daily bread. I think you're extremely outspoken about your faith in that regard. Like if anybody knows what a daily bread is, give us this day our daily bread, or even the daily bread devotionals. They they should know what that is. And if I'm not mistaken, you'll drop a scripture in there. Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, you're right. You're
Okay.
right.
I don't want to misrepresent what you're doing. So clearly your faith plays a huge role in your life and the way you interact with the world. And
Yeah,
I
man.
would say mine does as well. Maybe just not nearly as outspoken, but I think we all have to do it a little differently. And I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with it. I think what you're doing is really cool because I think you do it in such a way that it doesn't feel preachy.
Yeah.
Like people are getting what they came for, and if they want to stay a little bit longer, they can get some additional
I like
damage,
that.
and hopefully they find a little additional Jesus because people be needing it. Like we all see what's happening, and I'm just like, y'all need Jesus. Oh my gosh, yeah. And I'm not even joking. But how does your faith impact your views on race? Because I know you said you literally encountered the KKK
Yeah.
at some point in your life. That's wild. Because a lot of people can't say that. A lot of people just say like, "Hey, I feel like I was mistreated or discriminated against,"
Oh no.
which is
Oh no.
valid often. How does it
Oh no.
impact?
So yeah, man. I think it's important, even for me to lay that groundwork to say, I was born to Dorothy Gammage, which hats off to my mother. Uh, in being born to when my mother had me, she was addicted to uh, rock and marijuana. So there was a lot of drugs in my system that then the state removed me from my mom and put me in custody of my grandmother. And now, mind you, this is we're all poor during this time. This is the 80s, 1980 in Sylvester, Georgia. My mother lived with my grandmother, and so although my grandmother had custody of me and my brother, my mom still lived in the house. So we grew up with my mother. It was what it was. My mother had been on drugs large part of my life, like from birth up until when I was aware of what was going on. My mom had always been on drugs. Um, I then you fast forward to me moving to Florida, her getting out of prison because she went to prison. That's why I moved to Florida. Her getting out of prison, coming to Florida, getting me from my aunt. I moved back in with my mom. She got custody of me again. She got back out on drugs. I'm laying this foundation because I want you to see um, through all of this, through KKK, through racism, through all of this stuff, none of these things happened to an individual who was fortunate or grew up in a two family or two parent household. I had every reason to act out in violence. I had every reason to do the things that I did on my own account, like justified by myself. The reason I sold dope, the reason I fought, the reason I was promiscuous, the reason I ran the streets and did the things that I did was all about me upholding a reputation that I wanted to make for myself. I did not like the reputation that was happening in my life. Single mother, she's on drugs, and so much so at 13 and 14. Now, get this. This is going to blow this, but these are the things that you only get on costly conversations. Like these aren't things that the masses even know. 13 and 14 years old, I'm fighting guys who are selling dope in the streets that I just made sure that they knew. I'll be on the block. You'll be on the block. Do not sell dope to my mama. Period. If my mama is up here, she better leave empty handed. Do not sell dope to my mom. And now I'm a jit fighting old heads. I lost, but I fought because I need everyone to understand you do not sell dope to my mom. Now again, they still sold dope to my mom. She was still on drugs. That all still happened.
Wow.
I stopped selling drugs. Well, let me not say it like that way. I stopped selling a particular drug that my mom was on because I knew what it did to her. And I did not like that happening. Although the money was good in it, I did not like to continue to perpetuate that in other people's lives. You fast forward all through this, Aaron, there was a constant draw in me that I just felt like my life was on candid camera. Like I kept saying, like the thing that would help me get through stuff is I would say, man, there got to be some cameras in these bushes around here somewhere. Like at some point, somebody's gonna pop out of these bushes and they're gonna say, "Hey, man, hey, your real parents are over here. You're actually rich and you got all this money, and you don't have you don't have to carry water from a church across the street in a 5 gallon bucket because your water and your lights are off. So you're pouring water in the tub, you're pouring water in the toilet, you're pouring water in the sink. This was my life all the
Mm.
way up until 13, 14 years old. So when individuals see the Gammage now, many of them will never ever understand that there was a lot of suffering, there was a lot of just struggle that brought me up to the point to where I knew that there was a draw of greater. I just didn't know what. And in all of my producing and all of the things that I did them with my hands to make a reputation and a life for myself that I wanted, that it wasn't even designed for me. And it wasn't until my mom went to jail for the last time, and I was maybe 15 years old, and I got adopted. And in that household, now, mind you, as a young black kid, like I'm minding out of church, like my parents always going to church, we're always going to church, but I get adopted, and the family that I'm adopted into, they went to church regularly. And my mom, Linda, my adopted mom, Linda, she made sure to not be, she wasn't preachy. She wasn't like beating and hammering down on anything. She was just leading and showing the love of God in everything that she did. And the way she went about doing life, it was always drawing. And it was the God in her that was never judging, condemning, or hammer beating, that I grew in love with. And for her to be able to love someone like me, who she didn't even have to do what she did, that was appealing to me. And so following her, following going to church with her family or their family, that's why I just started growing in the things of God. And now, mind you, this is 15, 16, 17. I hadn't stopped running the streets. I hadn't stopped selling dope. I hadn't stopped fighting and doing the stuff that I was doing. However, the seeds were being planted in me that there's better. Like, there's a different life. You don't have to do what you're doing. You could choose to do better. And when I was of age, I graduated high school. Fast forward all the way through all of that, I got to Florida. Tampa. I moved from Avon Park to Tampa to the University of South Florida, and because in Avon Park I had built up such a reputation for myself, moving to Tampa was my opportunity to just rebrand and do what I desire. And I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to sleep with, I didn't want to live that life anymore. And so I started seeking God on my own. Like, I was in a place where I could now seek God for myself and forget about all the stuff that was told to me, forget about all the stuff that people did who said they was Christian but they still did other things. I dismissed all of that, and I just started seeking God for myself. And I came up to a Christian organization on USF campus. Started attending Bible study with them. Started going to church with them, and the rest was history, man. Like, I committed my life to. I was actually online. I got to tell you this part. I was online pledging Alpha Phi Alpha, but at the same time I was online pledging, I was also, like, my life was beginning to change spiritually, and it was that tug of war. And the last assignment, the last thing that ever happened, we had to go to a club, and in the club, the big brothers told us that while you're in here tonight, you can't talk to anybody. And they had so many bad women that were coming up to us, like, just trying to seduce and drop roofies, as you said earlier. Like, it was just so many women that were in there on assignment to, like, just try to get us to talk. And while I walked around that club that night, in my mind, just because we couldn't talk, in my mind, I'm having these conversations, and I'm like, this is this is ridiculous. Like, I
Mm.
don't want to be here. Like, I know at the end of the night what's going to happen. One of these chicks, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna smash one of these chicks, and that's just gonna be the continuous cycle. I came from Avon Park to stop doing that. Why am I going to do this to continue doing that? And I've never needed a group for me to get access to women or do anything like that. So why am I? And it was that night that it was really the defining moment of, are you going to go 100% and follow God to just see exactly where this takes you, or are you going to keep just being wishy-washy and doing both of what you want to do? And from that night on is when life changed for me.
Wow. That is that's a heck of a story. And I think the cool thing about some stories is, especially yours, is that it's your life.
Facts.
Like, it's not just something that someone made up in their mind to sound cool on the internet. Because in reality, at least I hope you didn't make that up to sound cool, because it doesn't make you sound cool. It makes you sound like, wow, this guy, he had all the offerings of the world, like
Yeah,
whatever
man.
whatever they could offer, a little bit of money, drugs, plenty of women, at the fingertips, community of guys who, obviously at some point you wanted to be around them, and to walk away from all these things, like, that's uncool in such a way that in my book it makes you cool. Like, that's
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's a powerful testimony, and I hope that people can look into that and see their own life and ask where they are on that timeline, and where their story diverges into another path that leads to their story and the continuation of their story. If that makes sense, and I hope it made plenty of sense for
It
people out
does.
there.
It does.
Brother, thank you for sharing that. And it sounds like a lot of people in the chat also appreciated your story, which is always helpful. let's let's transition because I know we're running out of time. People want to know what's going on. People want to ask questions. There's a few questions in here. Hopefully, I can find them. If you guys have any additional questions, drop them in the chat like right now, so I can find them. But we're gonna actually go into a what I call a commercial break. So just give us one moment, my brother, and we'll go forward. So, guys, you might have heard us talking about it before, but one of the biggest supporters of everything I've ever done since I've started is this awesome company out of Houston called Obsidian Tactics. You can barely see the logo there because, yep, Obsidian Tactics. You can see it now. Okay, so go to the website, obsidiantactics.com. I went ahead and pinned it in the live chat, obsidiantactics.com. Use the code. Some of y'all be forgetting to use the code, and I'm disappointed because it gives you free shipping. If it's $10 shipping and it's free shipping, guess who saved money on shipping? It's you. So use the code Armed Atlas, get free shipping, support the company Obsidian Tactics. They do training, they do med kits, they do other tactical gear that we really can't talk about so openly on the YouTube live stream. You know what I mean? And we'll go from there. They are also sponsoring the ammo giveaway that we're going to announce the answer to. The winners of next. He said duck. We're going to announce the winner of the ammo giveaway. We're supposed to do it this week. We're actually going to announce it next week. So please tune in next week. We're having a conversation with our guy, Chris from 1911 Syndicate. Almost as cool as Gammage, but definitely beard is a bit bigger. So if you are into big bearded white men who love guns as much as you do, tune in next week and make sure that you are also shopping with Obsidian Tactics. Because every time you purchase something from Obsidian Tactics that you were going to buy anyways from Amazon, you know what happens. A little bit of that money goes to them and a little bit of that money comes to us so we can continue to buy better lights and stuff like that and put on a better show. Maybe we could do some of these things in person. Quick question for those who are listening. Who wants to see us do these kinds of things in person? If that's something you would love to see, tap in with Obsidian Tactics and use the code Armed Atlas. All right, cool. I think we're done here. Let's go ahead and get back with Gammage and talk about whatever it is the audience wants to talk about. And it looks like, really quick, just before we do that, they did just drop a bunch of Haley strategic items. If you're interested in like really cool tactical gear, that's on the website now. So obsidiantactics.com. Check it out. Okay, so I can sit up now. Apparently my hat was like blocking the sunlight behind the logo, and it was a mess. For those who are listening on podcast, you're missing out on half the joy of being here live for all the mess. So let's see if there's any questions. I know there was some. I tried to pin. There was at least one or two here. Somebody asked. This is an interesting question. Maybe it's a little bit baity, but I'll ask and you can see how you want to answer it. So with that being said, how do you navigate those KKK members at the gun range? So I suppose that would imply that you believe personally that some of those people with either the attitudes of racism or actual affiliation to the KKK are still out and about. Maybe you believe that, maybe you don't. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. And that they're out there at the gun range and interacting with you. How does that interact? If that premise is true, how does that impact you?
Yeah, no, I do 100% believe that there are still individuals with that deep rooted hatred within them that occupy our gun ranges. I do also believe that the flip side of that, not just from the KKK side, but from the African American side, from the Hispanic side, from all ethnicities who've had injustice done to them. Well, some hadn't had injustice done to them, but I do believe there's hatred in all. And those individuals that hatred resides in, that they desire to be amongst us, I, I don't believe you can police hatred. So how do you navigate it? You can control you. You can't control. the hatred in someone else, you only can control you. So if I'm at a range, my local gun range is white owned. It's a country style range, is outside. There, I do believe some of the older individuals that go there to shoot look at me when I come out there and they're thinking, what is he doing here? What, why? But then there are also individuals of my skin tone that are out there that are just as racist against the other side. So how do you navigate evil? And I say evil instead of limiting it just to KKKs. How do you navigate evil? You dismiss yourself from evil. And again, for me, because I govern my life through scripture, you only can love evil. You can't. There's nothing else that drives out evil. Now, I don't meet evil with evil. Love conquers evil, and so for me, I'm going to always pour love into anything and keep it moving from there.
Okay. So there's a few other questions. Thank you for that answer. I think you did a pretty good job. Obviously, somebody's going to have a problem with it because maybe you didn't fully call out the evils of white people, and we. I think we can be clear. There are some people who have done some truly heinous things, and some people who would still
Facts,
do some truly heinous things.
facts,
And
facts.
it doesn't take much to figure out who those people are. They'll tell you who they are, and it's not always who you think it is. I'll say that too. So,
I like it.
why won't Gammage torture test his prodigy? Gammage.
I don't know that we can show firearms on the podcast, can we?
I've heard that if you pull it up on the screen, like not just mounted to a wall, that it'll kill the stream. So
Yeah,
let's
and
not.
so we won't have to do that. But you don't have to ever, whoever wrote that simple carry solution, you don't have to ever worry about me torture testing any of my firearms because I love them too much. Okay, they're mine. I paid for them. You didn't pay for them, and you're not my paw, Dominique. Get out of here.
Oh man, man, I love it. Yo, so somebody said, "Who do you know that person? Would you prefer
Stop.
Backstreet
Blackout coffee.
Boys, Blackout Coffee? I love
That's
Blackout Coffee.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I actually have some back here. Would you prefer the Backstreet Boys then, or Blackstreet, or 112, or A to Z? What in the world?
No, no, no. That's not A to Z. That was an actual artist.
AZ yet?
As yet was a group. But out
Excuse
of
me,
all of them,
my black card about to be gone.
112 is by far the best group mentioned there. He did not mention H Town and Silk. So I'm gonna give him a pass. 112 out of all of them wins it.
Oh man, here we go. About to update my playlist. Yeah. So Jay Weth, who I love everything he does. He gets into it. I wasn't following him at first, and I'm super selective about who I follow because if I
Yep.
follow you, you're in my feed, and you might be in my feed all the time. So I have to kind of be inundated by you. So I'm really selective about who I follow, and sometimes it takes me a while to follow you. Like if I've heard something good about you, I might be like, all right, cool. Well, keep doing it. Maybe I'll come back.
Similar to me and the being on the podcast because it was years ago that you know. But go ahead, I get your point.
Okay. This guy is a salty milk dud, and yeah, I'm just going to put that out there. So Jay Weth had a question. He has a great page. If you guys aren't following Jay Weth, follow him. In fact, most of the people in this live stream, if you want like dope people to follow, like just go through the names in the live stream chat and just go follow them because they're all phenomenal from what I've seen.
So true.
Question for later, which is now. When are we getting a new album drop from Gammage? Because apparently used to be a producer. I've seen one of your music videos in the past, which is interesting. Like one of your oldest videos on your YouTube channel. Because I studied you a little bit. I'm like, this man is a rapper.
Yeah, so weaved through all of that information that was given. I did rap prior to, I would say, salvation. I did rap in the industry, and then once getting saved, I was a signed music artist at one time as well. And so I was signed to Universal Christian label. And It was through by way of DMG, so it was a pretty big thing. We toured, we did everything like that. It was great. I do have a few projects on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify that you could just search Gammage and they'll pop up. But then in my link tree on any of my accounts, there's a link to where you'll find a lot of mixtapes and things that I've done as well. And so, yeah, I don't know, Jay Wealth, when there will be another project done by me, but I constantly sprinkle music whenever the assignment comes up to do music again.
Man, these people are hilarious, and I gotta go through your discography and see what you got going on. Apparently, you were a big deal back in the day. Back in
Thank
my
you.
day, yeah. So last one wasn't a question, but it was a statement, and I was like, man, I got to pull this up because I think it's good. It would be good to share. It said, "When you think you know enough, you're just starting. Excuse me, just getting started. When you think you're there, just getting started."
That's
And
true.
yeah, I constantly I get to a point where I'm like, okay, yeah, I finally, especially in the video production side, because the company that kind of powers everything that we do, from Armed Atlas YouTube channel to Costly Conversations podcast to all the social medias, Costly
Yeah.
Media. It's a production company. It's like a media production company at its heart. And whenever I'm like, okay, we've got our videography tight, I see somebody else who's doing it so much better. I'm just like, yo,
Yeah.
how did you do that? Like, I don't even want to know because it's going to take me 40 hours to learn, but I guess I should start.
And I love that statement as well, man, because it just fuels something that I've believed for so long, that it's never the destination, it's always the journey.
Hmm.
How you enjoy the journey to getting where it is that you're going is so much more. And so that's one of the reasons why even throughout squad drills, or just the guys that we connect with, we're always customizing stuff and making stuff. Like it's a journey. Like you do it, you make it yours. You gotten had enough fun with it, release it, let somebody else enjoy it now. So
Hmm.
it's always a journey.
Now, I know we kind of joked and kind of toyed with the idea that people can join squad drills. Is that like an invite only thing? Like if somebody's like, hey, I need community in my life. I like guns. I like the things that you guys value. Can I, can I be a part? Can I start using the hashtag? Like how does that work? And do you guys
So
jump people who use the hashtag without affiliation?
so we're not going to pull up on you if you begin using squad drills, hashtags, or any of that. Again, man, I don't, if I'm going to post anything and use hashtag costly conversations, it's because I've had a conversation with Aaron and I'm now supporting and in support of the things that you support. Likewise, if somebody wants to be a part of squad drills, the only thing you're saying is you want community and you want accountability, period. From there, you can reach out to any of us. I mean, I see so many brothers and sisters in the chat. I saw that you linked up with She Fires and while out at Naga. She Fired. I consider all of these individuals to be freaking squad drills. Travis, TK, man, these guys, this is squad drills. It's a family, as he said, and nothing motivates each other more than family. So no, if you want to be a part of freaking squad drills, man, hit any of us up. We will get you to the chats that are appropriate for you. And then so let me also say this, Aaron, if I could.
Go ahead.
I've shared a lot about my faith this evening, but please do not allow that to be the umbrella of individuals thinking that, oh, so Squad Drills is a Christian gun group. By no stretch of the imagination, there are brothers and sisters within Squad Drills that do not have affiliations with any organized religion or church or anything like that. And so we're not saying, or I'm making the point clear at this point. No, you do not have to be a Christian to be a part of squad drills. We all have our convictions that we live our life by, and this happens to be mine. If you are a part of squad drills, I am not sending you private scriptures and trying to convert you. And We're not going down these ways. I'm saying if you want to be a part of the fam, hit us up.
That's awesome, man. And I can appreciate you clarifying that it's not going to be some beat you over the hammer, beat you over the head with the hammer faith thing. Not because I don't co-sign proselytizing or sharing your faith, because I think that's important. I think that's kind of what these platforms are for those people who really love you
100%.
and want to get to know you. They can hop on something like this and really kind of hear your story, hear your testimony, hear how your
100%.
relationship with God has really changed your life from like the inside out, like complete 180 and maybe then some, right? But at the end of the day, community and really finding something that's real out there, because a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff is fake.
Yeah.
Like I could be accused of being fake just because
Yeah.
when I'm doing a video, I have to talk a little bit more excited than I normally would. Like it's just reality. Like I don't want to do that, but people would be bored if I talked the way I normally talk, and I don't want to bore you.
You're very monotone. You're
I
very
can be super
monotone.
like that's how I am until I get excited. Then I get kind of high pitched, and people are like, why your voice get all high? It was because I'm excited. I'm sorry. So either way, I can appreciate that you clarified that, and I hope that people who are here with us right now, or maybe hop on the podcast side later, I hope that they can get excited to join something like that. And just to be clear, you don't have to be a Brownells field agent affiliate to be in squad drills, right?
No, sir. There again. We're. I don't know. 95% of squad drill guys are not Brownell affiliates. Many guys have their own affiliates in different companies that they work with, and we don't clash. We don't. I'll reshare one of your links. I'll reshare somebody else's link. It's not about the turf wars or nobody pissing around trees kind of thing. No, no, no. We're family, man. Like we come together for what's greater than just guns and the 2A community. Like I'm
Yeah.
very in tune to my brother and his life. Like one of my brothers right now is in transition with employment. We are very much invested in him gaining employment and being able to provide for his family, not just the latest gun or optic that he got or what ammunition that he runs. So no, by no stretch of the imagination do you have to be affiliate with any of these guys. And I would hope, because real recognize real, and I'll spot you out eventually. I would hope that no one desires to get into squad drills because, oh man, well, maybe that'll help me get a landing opportunity with Brownells or anything like that. Because truth of the matter, none of us auditioned to do it. Like all of those things happen as a result of hard work. Now, by connecting, individuals will share tips and tricks with you on how to get recognized and noticed by these
Hmm.
companies. But at the same time, no one has a magic pill or en route to do anything like that. So
Right. It's as someone who's been going to events and making content for 3 years at this point, almost, there is no answer. Like I can tell you some of the stuff that I did, but it
right,
probably won't work for you. Let's be real.
right.
So if you pay me to tell you that, I'll take your money, but I will tell you I don't have the answer. You know.
There you
So
go.
thanks for supporting the work, right? So guys, man, I appreciate everyone who's been here. Gammage, can you tell people one more time how to find you, and we'll sign out.
Yes, sir. So on all platforms, you can follow me at Got Gammage. That's GOTGAMMAGE. At Got Gammage. That's on YouTube, social media. Right now on IG, we have a 6,000 giveaway taking place right now where we're giving away a lot of awesome things. And so head over to Instagram, follow me over there, connect with your boy, and let's build and grow together.
That's what's up. And guys, thank you so much for being here. This is Costly Conversations podcast, powered by Costly Media, of course. My name is Aaron. You can find me if you want to see me shoot guns. Look up like Armed Atlas on YouTube or Instagram, whatever, Twitter maybe. But Armed Atlas is my tags. And if you want to see Gammage again, let me know. I feel like if we invite him and we say pretty please, he'll come back. And maybe you know what I'm going to do. There's a few people who I've been wanting to bring in to the Patreon group to have private conversations, just like small stuff to share knowledge, to share information. I'm going to invite him to that. We're going to finally do it. We've been kind of holding up, but we're going to finally do that. And then if that goes well, maybe we'll invite him back to the show and let him talk to you guys again. But whatever. That said, guys, thank you so much for joining, listening, wherever you are. You know the drill. Keep it costly.